are listening to Castles and Cryptids. The castles are haunted, the cryptids are cryptic as fuck, and the episode is 30!
Yeah.
We have made it to our 30-year podcast life crisis that some people have when they turn 30. I didn't really give a shit. I was like, it's just a number.
Yeah.
But it's exciting for the podcast to get to the 30th episode.
Yeah.
Feels like a bit of a milestone.
Yeah.
20 more till 50. Schwifty.
Yeah, and then 2 more after that, and it'll be a year old.
Oh, like 52 weeks old.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's it's been a long day. I might be dumb when we record on a Friday, just so you are all aware. But we're here for it.
Yep.
We're dedicated for you.
Yeah,
And...
we're at episode... I'm gonna be dumb too today. We're recording an episode tonight and an episode tomorrow, because we're being productive, I guess.
I wish I understood how people can do 2 in one session, because somehow we're like, well, we just did like 3 hours and we feel like we've been through a sweat lodge and let out all our feelings and like we're like done, especially on a Friday.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Oh.
no. I wouldn't want to sit in my chair for like 6 hours straight. I'm sorry.
You guys know. You get it. These come out on a Friday. Like,
Yeah.
it's that day where you're like, I've made it. If you work Monday to Friday, that is.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck the 40-hour work week. It sucks. I think we should only work 4 days. I think it's been proven that people do as much work and are happier when they get like 3 days off on the reg.
Yeah.
But, what can you do? We can't all live in Scandinavia.
Nope.
Damn it.
No.
So this week we're talking about exorcisms.
Yeah. Some of my favorite things, and one of the only things about horror movies, I guess, that actually creep me out.
These are a few of her favorite things.
Yeah.
Morbid version. Morbid remix.
Yeah.
Creepiest movies, definitely. Grossest scenes, sometimes.
Yeah. All the,
Contortionist.
yeah, bones cracking out of place,
Ooh,
vomiting
would you love
up
a good
nails.
Crack my knuckles. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the swearing and the rasping and the making sexual advances towards the
I was just
priest.
gonna say the hip thrusting.
Oh my god. If we
So-
did an exorcism watch party, what the hell would you serve as like the themed appetizer? Cause
Pretzels.
twisty. Nice. Oh,
Yep.
especially a soft pretzel. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's better than where I was thinking, which I was like, well, she pukes up some
Yeah. Pea
cottage
soup.
cheese, like. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's green. That's right.
Serve some pea soup and
As supplementary homework, I think I may have to watch The Exorcist this weekend just to make sure. Like, I'm sure I've seen it ages ago, but it's like, okay, now we gotta refresher course. You're covering it.
I'm pretty sure I tried watching it at like a horror movie slumber party I had years ago, and I don't think me and my friends got through it. So
I feel like
we all thought it was boring and we stopped.
I've never felt the need to either, because you
Yeah.
see all of the, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like the sensational parts or whatever. Yeah, you see them like clips all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, same thing where I'm like, I get it.
Yeah. I know
But there's
what
some good
happens.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about one of my favorites. I know that because I have some stuff going on with it, but
One of your favorites?
Yeah, one of my favorite, like, exorcism-themed movies.
Oh, okay. Just one of my favorite exorcisms
Yeah.
that I have learned about and or performed. Yeah. Oh, cool. I have an exorcism also, and I also have a little bit of history because I had to pad out my segment a little.
Okay. I had to too as well, so that's why I'm gonna talk about the movie.
There's lots of cases. It's just that
Yeah.
they're not that hefty.
No.
You're like, how can this be a whole, like, not that we want our episodes to be extremely long. That's not our goal.
Yeah. We just don't want our episodes to be an hour long.
Also, sometimes I see someone cover something in like half an hour and I'm like, but how can you? You know, like at least 10 minutes of that's gotta be banter.
Yeah. You gotta go on a few tangents, come on.
Yeah. We are the tangent queens.
I feel like we really are. We're so bad at this. We're bad about staying on topic, but our tangents are fairly on topic still. Overall, they're just not case topics.
I can't count. I don't know how many times I've heard the girl the whine and cry and be like, quick anecdote, and then the rest of them all groan because there's 3 of them. And also, to cite another very popular podcast you all know I like, and That's Why We Drink, and they're always like, oh god, we talked so long on this one, but then they're like, but like half of you are like, I love it when you talk so long.
Yeah.
So, it's like being a politician or something. You can only please so many people.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't think that we're that important that we have to please the multitudes.
Yeah, we can't swing elections.
No, and we can't exorcise demons either.
No, I really couldn't. Mostly because I like view myself as an atheist, so I feel like that just wouldn't work.
You're like, I don't really believe in this.
Yeah. The demon would be like, really? Really? The power of Christ compels you. Does it? Like,
don't waste my time.
Yeah.
I got out of bed for this. It'd be like Crowley from Supernatural. He'd be like all cutting wit.
Yeah.
And British. Or, I mean, is he supposed to be Scottish? Because his mom, Rowena, and that is really Scottish. Anyway.
Yeah, he's supposed to be Scottish.
Okay.
Yeah. From what I remember.
Do you want to... Oh, okay. Love a good Scotsman. So do you want to start with the history of the exorcisms? Or do you want to do your case first? Because I know you have a cool... is it priest? You call it?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we could close with that, so it's perfect if you have some, like, general history for us.
I think this is going to segue quite nicely. That's
Do some history, do a couple cases, and then have a nice actual exorcism priest at the end. A little bookends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. This is, it does have a little segue, is what I was saying. A little segue, if you will.
A segue.
God, hang on.
Don't die. Don't cough up any nails. Or split pea soup.
Yes, a segue. It's... I don't know if I even told you this. I didn't know how segue was spelled either, and then I was listening to And That's Why We Drink, and then Em, like, realizes that it's, like, I thought it was spelled Segway, like the Segway machines. Yeah. Like, they used to get, like, Em used to give tours on Segway machines, too, so it was extra funny. She used to... Or they... Sorry, I misgendered. Used to give Segway tours and, like, of the place they lived in, and also Paranormal Hunt, so, like, did some ghost Segway tours. And then they're like, isn't it Segue? It looks like it's spelled Segue. And then Christine's like, yeah, but that's Segway. And I was like, oh my god, is it? I always thought it was Sieg. It's like Segue. Am I crazy?
Yeah, it's...
Segway's
I hate
a weird
English.
word.
let's just throw English away as a language and just pick a different number one, like, world language,
I thought
please.
you were gonna say, I'm just throwing that out there. I hate English. And I was like, same.
No, just get rid of the whole English language. Our
I thought of this mismatch of German, Latin,
French.
Right? I was
So much French we borrowed. Because we're lazy people.
Yeah. Oh, anyway. Yeah. So,
God,
the history of exorcisms, which those usually involve some Latin.
Yeah.
Spiritus Sancte, Mana Domine.
Exmundos.
Whatever Sam says on Supernatural. Okay. So, the rite of exorcism has been around in Christianity and Judaism for a long time. I mean, they believe in demons, I guess, so I guess that makes sense. From what I could tell from my research, it goes as far back as Jesus, when he expelled demons with but a word.
Be gone.
Exactly. I don't know if that was the word.
No.
There's
no way to know.
Haven't read the whole Bible. Okay.
I don't think I've ever even touched a Bible, so no. I must have. I've gone to church with my grandma. I must have touched a Bible.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm possessed by a demon right now.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Jeebus, help us. No, that's The Simpsons. No, but... Oh my god, my family listens. So, my mom took us to, like, Anglican church with her. And also, I had really fun. You might be surprised if I haven't told you this, but at the Bible camp that I went to, it was actually really fun.
I'm pretty sure any camp is fun. You're a kid.
Yes, it had some fun activities. I love archery. But anyway.
Oh, I wish. I've done archery once in my life, and I hit a bullseye on the first try. It was amazing.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
we need to... Yeah.
I love archery.
Pat has a crossbow, but not a regular bow and arrow. All right, I'm one sentence in. Or something. Oh, yeah. So Jesus said that this act was a sign of the coming of God's kingdom.
Okay.
Oh, do I have to burp? It's a sign of the coming of
the carbonated drinks.
Fuck, man. I might need to edit this one because I sound like an idiot.
Yeah, you are editing this one. I'm editing the next one.
So, his followers from that point on continued to drive out demons in Jesus' name. And, quote, in the first 2 centuries of the Christian era, the power of exorcism was considered a special gift that might be bestowed on anyone, lay or cleric. Britannica.com. So okay. I guess they mean layman or clergyman by that.
So, like, anybody could be trained, maybe?
Yeah, they were pretty loosey-goosey with it during the first 2 centuries.
I mean, I would get trained in exorcisms, or at least view them. I feel like it'd be crazy.
I don't know, yeah, it sounds like for a while there might not have been a whole lot of training, even.
Probably not.
Okay.
Exorcism internships. I'm an unpaid intern for an exorcist? Thank you.
Yeah, Exorcism, The Apprentice. Around 250 CE, there evolved... I'm not going to use the religious one. There evolved a class of clergy called exorcists, and they were the only ones allowed to perform the rites. So, they took control. I also read at that time it was integrated into part of the preparation for the baptism ceremony, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because I'm like, okay, with the baptism, you know, they're usually like, put the water on the forehead of the child, and there's godparents there saying, like, I revoke the devil, and things like that. But, like, it sounds like maybe before that they would do some sort of ceremony to, like, rid the actual child of any demons. Just, what, you know, however perfunctory the ceremony.
Yeah. That kind of makes sense, I guess.
Reminds me of the Shadow Hunters. Didn't Jace come back from the dead, and then he had to get, like, Shadow Hunter rights put back on him because Lilith was inhabiting
him? Yeah, I think so.
That's what I remember. I like those books. I read them a couple times now.
I have too. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm. I know, they're old.
Yeah.
Okay. During this stage of the evolution of the exorcism, they relied on grimoires for instructions on how to perform the rite.
Witchcraft.
Magical textbook.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's fun.
Sign me up.
And then I do remember hearing this before. I had read it for the research, but they ended up being revised in January of 1999. The actual exorcism rites and rituals.
Oh, wow. That seems so recent.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, being that they've been performing it since, casually since Jesus. And then at least since, it comes in and out of fashion, but probably at least since, like, the 1600s or so in earnest.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, they still allowed the traditional rite of exorcism in Latin. So I think that was your basic old version.
Yeah.
But then you had your new and improved 1999. It was Windows 1999. Oh my god, that's a flashback.
Y2K.
It was Exorcism 99. Exorcism 2.0. So the classic Roman ritual lists the following signs of possession: speaking foreign or ancient languages of which the possessed has no prior knowledge, supernatural abilities and strength, knowledge of hidden or remote things which the possessed have no way of knowing, an aversion to anything holy, and profuse blasphemy and or sacrilege. By the mid-70s, films like 1973's The Exorcist caused a resurgence in interest in exorcisms. The Catholic Church did not want people to go all out exorcising all willy-nilly, so this led to the reform and the new revision of the rites in 1999.
That still took a really long time. Like 26 years. From the release
Even
of the
after
movie.
Yeah.
For them to do anything. That's funny.
They're like, oh shit, are people gonna really start looking at this stuff again? I thought we were over this superstitious crap.
We better get on this. 26 years later.
Yeah, the movie just flashed forward. Oh, and then this is fun. A 2018 article from the BBC.com talks about a course offered by the Vatican for priests to learn about possession.
Lovely.
I mean, all parts of it must evolve. If they're going to rewrite it, then yeah, they should have some courses on it. Maybe they do it by Zoom now.
COVID.
Maybe you can get exorcised by Zoom. The power of Christ compels you. I lost my connection.
Sorry, you're buffering.
Is she still possessed, or is that just the video?
Did the screen freeze?
Or is she really hovering? Okay, we're good. Jesus. We have pandemic brain. But also, I told you I Zoomed the other day, and I was like, literally, I had not done it the whole pandemic. My family has lived far away from me for years. I've like FaceTimed like once.
Yeah.
And then it's like podcasts have like an October thing, and they're like, come visit us on Patreon, and I'm like part of their Patreon. I'm like, damn it, I will. I'll get Zoom for you. It's pathetic.
I think I did Zoom once. It was like a something one of my friends wanted to go to, and it was about like
kind
of like taking control of your life or like changing your outlook on life or something like that.
Oh, like a seminar of some sort?
Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, and it was zoomy.
Yeah.
Zoomy. Sorry. Sounds like my dog when he gets the zoomies.
He does.
So was that during COVID then?
Yeah.
Oh. You're not allowed to have other friends. I thought we talked about this. I'm just kidding. Okay. So yeah, as many as 250 priests from 50 countries gathered in Rome to take the course in April of 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Quite a few. They were there to learn how to identify signs of possession, hear eyewitness accounts, and practice new skills to drive out those demons.
Those diamonds.
Diamonds. It is a week-long Vatican course. It is the only international series of lectures of its kind. It's called The Exorcism and the Prayer of Liberation, and it's been available since 2005.
Oh, okay.
I know. I was like, oh, wow. Good for you.
A little bit about...
Sorry?
Oh, I said we might talk a little bit about that program in my segment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I read that he had something to say about it, maybe.
Yeah, well, the priest will talk about, he went through that course when it first started.
Yes. Or, sorry, yeah, the priest you're covering, I should have said.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, the cool thing, too, was the attendance has doubled since the start in 2005.
Wow.
And priests from around the world have reported increases in demonic possession. Demonic. But that's really weird. It's like, okay, well, if there's now courses for it and priests are getting together, it's cool that they can talk about the fact that it might be increasing, which is scary.
Yeah.
Scary as fuck. Yeah.
I have...
Actually, they said... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I have a little bit of data right to close off the episode that kind of, like, floored me about the numbers. And I was absolutely shocked. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, you know what? Say no more. I will move on to my next segment because I had a number, but I will not say it.
Was it about the number of exorcisms that are performed a year?
Yes. Yes.
In Italy?
Yes. I think we read the same article. But yeah, like that's pretty cool to hear that there's been increases in demonic possession, and priests around the world are like probably talking about it and being like, what do you think is the reason for that?
Probably just more horror movies and people believing they're possessed. And crazy parents around the world.
I do often hear the argument that maybe some of it in the past has been overlooked and misnomered as possession when it could have been just mental illness. Yeah. And I think, that definitely rings true to some degree to me. I'm sure that some of it was misunderstood, mental illness, but there's the movies are fun to watch still and speculate. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do one on a movie. I asked Pat once I picked this one. Turns out we don't own this movie, and I couldn't find it to watch again. But
okay,
this is based on the real story of Anna Ecklund, as she's called in the movie. So there's a movie called The Exorcism of Anna Ecklund that came out in like 2016.
Sounds familiar, I think.
I know. There's so many of them. There's also Emily Rose. I've heard about that one.
I've definitely seen Emily Rose because I had Jennifer Carpenter from Dexter in it.
Ooh, yeah, she good. Yeah, it's hard to pick some of these. Oh, especially for the next episode. I was like, horror movies based on true crimes. Yeah. And then some of them was like, that sounds like a good movie. But then there wasn't like a lot of sources for the case. Or they were like, it's no proof at all. And you're like, damn it.
It's based on a true story, and by that I mean the killer's name is the same and nothing else. Like, great, thank you.
A true story that's told around the campfire, and there's no...
My cousin Jimmy's friend Steve told me.
Basically. Yeah, so in that vein, Anna Ecklund was not the real name. She was probably actually based on a woman named Emma Schmidt. Schmidt
from New Girl
was Schmidt. Even that was the most named in the sources. You know what I mean? Like I even think I heard something else too once or twice. Yeah. It's just like, oh my god. But according to the majority of sources, Emma Schmidt could have been her real name, so I pretty much called her Emma in my notes. Emma, Anna. Emma, Mama.
A mamani.
Emma.
See, a mamani.
Anna. Okay. And you know what? That was likely just for her protection that maybe the name was changed. Sometimes you can't find a lot of details about her family and her early life and that stuff, and that's fine. But from what I can gather, her parents were German immigrants. Her father, Jacob, was a drinker. In fact, he had a reputation for abusing alcohol and cheating on his wife, or at least being a, quote, womanizer.
Okay. Sounds slimy.
He's a womanizer, according to a Medium article. It wasn't me. I don't know. But it sounds like he had a bit of a reputation. So, I mean, back in the day, right? Well, anyway, I'll tell you what time it is.
What time is it?
1882!
Oh, gosh.
Oh, gosh. Her father was not a Catholic, but her mother was. And they lived in Marathon, Wisconsin. And Emma was born on the 23rd of March, 1882.
Wow.
She's a March baby, like me.
That's so long ago, 1882.
So it's about 100 years before I was born, yo. Sorry. That hit hard.
Yeah. And I thought my case was old.
No, but do you ever see the things where people are like, 20 years ago? It's like Tumblr posts, and someone's like, yeah, so 1980, and they're like, no, 2000.
Yeah.
Or someone was like, I get pleasure of telling my kids I wasn't born in this millennium, and I was like, oh my god, I can say that.
Right? Yeah. Oh my god.
It's weird. It's weird being on the cusp like this. So by the age of 14, Anna, whatever, she began to show signs of possession, or at the very least, some strange behavior. She got ill when entering her church. She became very wary of the priests and would vomit if taking communion. You know, the whole wafer thing with the blood of the Christ.
Yeah, who doesn't want to vomit when you get the blood of Christ put in your mouth? I'm sorry.
And that tiny little tasteless quote-unquote wafer.
I've never eaten one, so
it's like sandpaper. I don't know.
Here's an unsalted cracker.
You should go to hell for that. She would also become violent when in the presence of holy objects and holy water. As a result of her troubles, she stopped attending church, and that caused her to become more withdrawn and lonelier.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah. Leave a community of people.
Oh, yeah. That's gonna affect you. One theory as to the cause of some of the issues was that her aunt, Mina, was rumored to be a witch. And on top of that, she had for sure had an affair with Emma's father. I don't know if that's why they called her a witch. It could have been.
Yeah, possibly.
I know, right? It's like, and woman's doing something bad. Witch!
Yeah. Don't blame the guy that cheated. Blame
Right?
Blame your aunt.
Exactly. And Emma's family then reached out to the Catholic Church, which her mother was a part of. So the church called upon Father Theophilus, oh dear, Reisinger.
They all have crazy names. I edited my first guy's name out. I don't even, in, like, my segment, because I was like, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that.
I didn't even consider pronunciation. Well, I did when I looked at the last name. I was like, it's probably Reisinger. Or
Yeah.
Reisinger. And then I fucking panicked. So yeah, Theo Reisinger, an expert in exorcisms at the time. And Father Reisinger was a Capuchin friar from Appleton, Wisconsin. Fun.
Capuchin is such a great word.
I love it, and I wanted to feel smart, so I was like, what is it? And yeah, it's just an order. Just a religious order. That's really all we need to know.
Capuchin is?
That's what it said. Like an
Okay.
order. Like he was a friar, which I was like, that's a monk, right?
Yeah.
And then vocabulary.com was like, a friar belongs to a religious order, a group within the Catholic Church. A friar is similar to a monk.
Yeah. That's weird.
Friars are... What?
Whenever I hear capuchin, I always think of a capuchin monkey. Is that like a thing?
Yeah!
So I was
I've
like...
heard of that.
And then when you're like, a capuchin, like, religious person, I was like, wait, what? A capuchin monkey?
I know, I don't know, I've decided that I'm a word nerd, because I like learning new vocabulary. But anyway, yeah, it's like friars are like monks. They're devoted to a religious life. The difference, apparently, is that a friar lives and works among regular people in society, while a monk lives in a secluded, self-sufficient group of monks.
Athelstan.
Okay. We used to see, just even when we lived downtownish here in Edmonton, there was like, they looked like friars because they would be wearing, you know, the belted kind of
Robes.
You know what? But there was a Buddhist temple nearby. I think I'm getting it a little mixed up. But you know what I mean? Yeah, it did look like robes, and you're like, look at them out there, and they'd be like wearing sunglasses with the robes, and you'd be like, that looks so like they're just like us, but they're out in their robes.
That would be amazing.
So, Father Reisinger observed Emma's behavior, noting her aversion to religious objects and testing her by using fake holy water, which she did not react to. Her first exorcism performed by the father was on June 18th, 1912. She was 30 years old at this time, and the rite seemed to be a success.
That's good.
So, yay. But it's not that simple, of course, or this would not be good enough for an Alanna case. Anna contacted Father Reisinger again in 1928, 16 years after her first exorcism. She had been experiencing torment from her aunt and her father's spirits.
Okay.
They just won't let her be.
Yeah.
Ugh. This is like, just cool it, yo. You're dead now.
Why are you haunting her? What'd she
Right?
do to you?
Exactly.
Besides expose your affair. Like fucking... Jeez.
Asshole.
Asshole.
He's an asshole. Okay. So, Father Reisinger decided to enlist help this time in the form of Father Joseph Steiger, who offered to host the exorcism at his parish, St. Joseph's Parish in Earling, Iowa. This place was more secluded than Father Reisinger's. There was also a couple of nuns and a housekeeper also present, and the first one occurred on August 18th, 1928. So basically 3 sessions would occur altogether, August 18th to 26th, then September 13th to the 20th, and lastly from December 15th to the 23rd.
Oh, okay.
Those were, the 3 exorcism sessions, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds intense. I don't know.
Like,
That is the thing with most of these cases, is you just can't imagine what they're going through and how we can't seem to help them.
right?
Yeah.
At least with Anna's case, though, like, the first exorcism wasn't performed until she was an adult. So,
Right.
it wasn't...
Even though she started experiencing symptoms at like 14-ish, which is weird.
So I feel like it's something she herself understood was going on. It wasn't something that maybe was, like, necessarily, like, forced on her.
Mm-hmm.
If it was, like, a child going through it, you know?
Right, as is in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, so during the event, many demonic things seemed to occur, where Emma floated up out of the bed despite being tied down, landing high above the room's door, clinging to the wall.
Oh.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
She, I know, reminded me of your haunted house story, Deadmonton.
Oh, fuck. I've told so many people that story. Anybody that'll listen to me.
It's on, like, episode 2, I think, as well. And I tried to, like, I think I told you, we tried to get Deadmonton to give us a little, whatchamacallit code, promo code. I'm open to advertisers. I'm just putting it out there. But yeah, they didn't respond to me. It's okay. I'm fine. We're fine. We're fine. But that is open again this year because I drive by it and it looks, I don't know, it always looks like it's held in such a big warehousey area that I'm like, Jesus Christ. It's like one of those ones you almost gotta sign a waiver for.
Yeah.
Ugh. So, it's crazy what happens though. She apparently hissed like a cat and howled like a pack of wolves. Wolves. And when holy water touched her skin, it burnt right off again. And it sizzled where it struck her skin.
Wow.
Her face twisted, her eyes and lips swelled to gigantic proportions, and her stomach became hard. Don't know why that is. Weird.
I think that's commonly where they say the demon, like, lives, is in your stomach.
Ew.
I think.
Don't like that.
Yeah, because they always seem to be, like, doing stuff to women's stomachs in exorcism movies.
And they're arching their back, like the stomach's coming up.
Yeah.
And then also, my next point is she would vomit like 20 to 30 times a day.
Oh, that's awful.
So, yeah. But like also to your point about the stomachs. Not just...
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. But like, it also ties into that. Yeah, it's horrible.
Wow.
Like, she was suffering. Mm-hmm. It's shitty. And then, the speaking in tongues. She suddenly spoke and understood other tongues, including Latin, Hebrew, Italian, and Polish. And then, when Father Reisinger demanded to know who was inside of her, she replied, "Many." Which kind of reminds me of that whole Legion.
I am like... Legion. Yeah.
Our tangents are Legion! So, so then Father Reisinger got it to specify further because it said that it included Beelzebub and then also Judas Iscariot? Not sure. Also from the Bible, Judas, the Judas, was apparently in her. And also Emma's aunt and her father, those spirits that kept, nagging her.
Okay. So they were possessing her now too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Excuse me. Yeah, these are part of the Legion possessing her. Beelzebub, Judas from the Bible, and then Emma's aunt Mina and her father.
I just have to ask, what do you think the aunt and the father achieved in life that they're put at the same tier of possession as, like, Beelzebub? I'm sorry.
I know, it's weird.
But, like, how does one get to become a spirit that gets to possess somebody?
I know, it almost seems like she's struggling with real demons and then like personal demons,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't even know how to say it other than that. I'm like, ugh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's going to be a trend in my stories in the next couple of episodes, just to let you know. Shitty upbringings. Anyway. Oh, hang on. I put that page away before I was done with it. The voice that belonged to Judas said his goal was to bring her to despair so that she will commit suicide and hang herself. She must get the rope. She must go to hell.
Oh. Yeah, that's not good.
No, they are using and abusing her poor body.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently her father's spirit was angry that she had refused a sexual relationship with him when he was alive.
Oh, because how dare she? Like, oh my god. Gross. This
Right?
man. Ugh.
I don't know. I read that, whether it's speculation or, you know, just that there was rumors about him and the aunt. I don't know. That's just whatever. What I read.
Either way,
yeah.
he sucks.
Oh, totally. Exactly. That's all we need to know. Oh yeah, and then Mina, the spirit of Mina, the aunt, kept saying that she and Emma's father had cursed Emma together. During the exorcism, Father Steiger says he was threatened by one of the demons to take back the permission given to perform the ritual. Like, threatened with bodily harm, basically. And a few days later, he ended up crashing his car into the railing of a bridge, but he did escape with his life. He was just very shooken up after the whole ordeal.
Interesting. I've never heard about, like, them asking for you to take back permission for the exorcism to be performed.
No, they do love to threaten people, but it doesn't always seem to, like, be carried out in any way that you can see. So this is interesting, whether it's a, you know, quote-unquote coincidence or not.
Yeah.
I don't really believe in coincidences, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't really either.
That's why I'm always like, it's a synchronicity. So the final session ended on the 23rd of December after 3 straight days of performing the rite, where the father had no sleep whatsoever. He just was straight exorcising.
Wow. That's intense for everybody involved.
I know. I think that's what the movies are so intense. You're like, that's enough. Yeah. 30 seconds a minute. I'm good. And then Emma, like, basically stood up suddenly in bed before collapsing. And then a piercing noise filled the room, followed by the names of the demons that were plaguing her. She said, Beelzebub, Judas, Jacob, Mina, hell, 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 while writhing on the bed. So I guess Jacob must have been her father's name then. Yeah.
Okay.
And then she shouted, From what a terrible burden have I been freed at last. My Jesus, mercy. Praised be Jesus Christ. Okay. After that, Emma...
Quite the speech after such a thorough exorcism.
Right? I hope she was just, like, just being like, Jesus fucking Christ, I'm so glad that's over.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick nap, guys. Okay.
And that's just how they said that in the Victorian era. Yeah. Because they were more formal.
You know, Jesus Christ.
Again, I keep doing Southern, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I think she's from, like, Michigan. But anyway. Or whatever it was. I've done a lot of notes over the past couple days. If it's not Michigan, I apologize.
It's somewhere.
It's somewhere. After that, Emma was at peace once more, freed from her torment. So that's nice.
Yeah.
They all attempted to keep the story quiet, mostly out of respect for her privacy, I would assume. So that's very nice, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Until this Father Carl Vogel, some other dude father, decided to gather up eyewitness accounts and write a book about it. So, he did write a book titled Begone, Satan! A soul-stirring account of diabolical possession in Iowa.
Begone, Satan!
Begone! Satan! Satan, be gone! Sorry, I always do the letter Kenny thing where they like say the person, okay, Kelsey, okay.
Yeah.
When he's like just kind of arguing with someone or whatever, you'd be like, all right, Kelsey, okay, yeah.
It just reminds me, I saw something the other day that it was just a headline. I didn't click into the article, but it was like, watching Letter Kenny makes you learn like a whole nother language or something. And I was like, yep.
Regional Canadian slang.
Especially because so many of them are talking so fast. Honestly, the episodes that I download that don't have subtitles, I'm always like, okay, gotta pay real close attention to what's being said right now.
Exactly. You're like, okay, you guys are in Ontario. And then, yeah, they'll do, French and French slang too. And then you're like,
yeah.
But still, some of the things, I'm Canadian. I'm like, what did you say? What did you call that?
Yeah.
What the hell's a stag and doe party? What? What?
Yeah. My favorite thing is, how you now, good new.
Oh,
hey,
you
Wayne,
guys.
how you now, good new.
Letter Kenny. Okay, no, we can do it. Wayne and McMurray. Every scene. Hey, Wayne. How are you now?
Good new.
Good and you. They always say it together, too. They're tumbling over each other.
At the same time. And they're like, we don't have time for this.
That's me. Every awkward exchange. Now back from these messages. No. So what was interesting, I thought was a little interesting, was some said that the part of the research material that author William Peter Blatty used to write The Exorcist was, some of these writings, such as Begone Satan, and other writings about this story.
Oh, okay.
So, while it's widely thought that the novel and the subsequent movie, The Exorcist, are loosely based on the 1949 case of a 13-year-old boy known only as Roland Doe.
Yeah, that
because we don't know. Yeah, because we don't know his last name. But the author Blatty clarified a bit in an interview with the Washington Post that it only gave him the general idea for the story. So, yeah, because I was a little confused at first when I was like, oh, he used some of this case, as research material. Not saying he based any of The Exorcist necessarily on this case, but like he used it when he was researching and he read it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you have to use more than one source on stuff.
And then I grabbed this quote from him that said, The Exorcist is not the 1949 case. The latter gave me the idea, nothing more. The rest, except for the possession syndrome, which is the same all the way to ancient Egypt records of exorcism, came entirely out of my head. Everything is made up.
Okay.
So it sounds like it was very loosely based. Pretty made up on exorcism in general. So, but this also I thought was a fun fact. According to some sources, this was the first and last exorcism officially sanctioned by the Catholic Church.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know, because you also did hear a little bit about that. I thought they might have got some permission in some of the Conjuring, the Warren cases, but I haven't researched it, so I honestly don't know. But this is just what I read about this case, that it was apparently at least perhaps the first and last exorcism officially sanctioned by the Catholic Church.
Yeah,
isn't that
they
weird?
have exorcism classes.
Correct. And they don't sanction all of them, it sounds like.
But
they're
they
just like
provide teaching courses on an annual basis to over like hundreds of people.
They just don't want to be like liable for any of those.
Okay.
They don't want to be legally responsible.
I guess so.
So they don't sanction anything.
We provide teaching, we just haven't sanctioned anything in like 240 years, okay? Like,
oh my god, also reminds me of something I was listening to where they're talking to a literal person who was a flight attendant, and they were basically like trying to tell the passenger, yeah, the bathroom's over there, because they were like, well, I really have to pee, but it says, don't get up sign, and they're like, the bathrooms are over there, and they're like, but I really have to pee. And then somebody was like, he's trying to tell you he can't tell you to go use the bathroom, but the bathrooms are over there and you can get up and use them.
He's also not going to tell you to piss yourself in the middle of the plane. Thank you. Because they don't want to clean that up any more than you want to pee yourself. Like,
God, I love those behind the scenes stories. Anyway.
Right? I can't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you. I'm going to write it down.
It was also really funny because he was saying that they had like a passenger's sort of bingo card that some of them made up that was like passenger with the mullet, passenger with a trash bag instead of a suitcase.
I would love that. That makes work fun.
Okay, you can go. This was from an episode of the Mindless Morning Show where they had on their flight attendant friend. I can't remember the episode number, but there's my shout out. And we should take a quick break.
Yes. We'll be right back. There we go. Okay, we're back.
And then I just told the funniest joke, and then Kelsey wasn't recording it, and now it's lost forever. No,
I'm sorry.
That didn't happen. You know I'm not funny.
All right. So for my first part, my possession case, I didn't look up how to pronounce anything because go me. So.
Oh no, no. Don't even tell them. There's no way to know.
Right? Well, not like most of the time is Google even very helpful. So I mean, let's be honest.
No. And it's funny because I'll look up the spelling for something sometimes. I'll be like, okay, I know how they pronounce it, got the pronunciation, but I just want to make sure I'm spelling it right. And then I'm like writing it down, and then I'm like thinking like, this is going to a podcast. No one's gonna know how it's spelled anyway.
Spell it
feels
phonetically.
Very strange.
Yeah, spell it phonetically. It's easier.
Exactly.
So
you live, you learn.
For my case, I am covering the possession of Clara Germana, I'm going to say Seal? C-E-L-E? Seal?
There's no way to know. No. It's Seal, it's Cele. There's
probably
no accent on it.
No.
Yeah. It's hard to tell.
So, I had never heard of this, and it's actually kind of crazy.
I haven't heard of it either.
Yeah, so I was really happy to be able to cover it. So this takes place in the year 1906. And
oh shit.
Yeah. So Clara at this time is 16 years old, and she had just confessed to making a pact with the devil. As teenage girls do. So
that's how she got her hair to look so good. All the rest of the girls in the class were jealous.
Yeah, they were. So she was a student at a Catholic mission, actually in South Africa. So that's probably why we haven't heard this case.
Could be.
Yeah.
But I'm just a dummy. If I don't look out for it, it's like,
yeah,
I might never hear about it. Oh, a podcast covered it. Great.
Yeah.
If not, I'll never know. So you're welcome, guys. You're welcome. We covered it.
So she is actually, at this time, she had been orphaned at the age 4 or 5 because of the death of both of her parents. So she was pretty much raised by this Catholic mission, like church/school in South Africa since that age, 4 or 5. So like her whole life, as long as she can remember. She probably didn't remember her parents very well, if at all.
That's sad.
So because she was raised by the church, she was baptized as a child. So that's pretty much the only really like background I have about her. It's
okay, but they presumably did that whole demon getty outy procedure before the baptism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So back to what she confessed. So it said, depending on the source, because there is a lot of like discrepancies in sources, I have to say, that I ran across. So I kind of tried to compile like both sides a little bit on everything.
Ooh.
So
real devil's advocate.
Yeah, I do like to play that because I mean, it's hard to verify when like three sources are saying one thing and then like four sources are saying another thing, and you're like, well, so
Exactly.
one of the things is I didn't include the name of the Catholic mission like school she was at, because every single source I saw had four different names for the school. Nobody could agree on it, so it's yeah.
You know, I see corporate names sometimes at work, and sometimes they do change their shit up a whole bunch. So,
Yeah.
well, let's just roll with it. It doesn't matter what the name is. It doesn't matter what your name is. Can you smell what the rock is cooking? Okay, I'm done.
So as I said, she had either confessed to making a like pact or a deal with the devil, or some sources say that she had confessed to having sex with Satan.
Oh, honey, no.
Yeah.
That's gotta be worse somehow.
Yeah. And pretty much either way, they said that she had provided possibly a written copy of her agreement to giving her soul to him.
Oh no! Homer does that one time, and then they turn his head into a donut, and he starts eating his own head.
No. Oh gosh.
Oh dear, honey. Don't follow in Homer's footsteps.
No. So she even warned, some of the sources said she even warned the church before making the deal, that she was wanting to make one. She, like, told this to one of the priests, like, in confession, that she wanted to make a deal with the devil, and they kind of didn't believe her, and were like, haha. And then, so she, like, went home, and then, like, a couple weeks or, like, a month later came back and was like, so I made a deal with the devil. Like...
No. They're
Yeah.
like, shit, we just thought you were being a little bitch.
Yeah. So,
Oh, man.
because no one stopped her, she came back and in like another confession told them that the deal had been made.
God, then what did they do? Help her? Probably not.
They started like kind of watching her behavior, I guess. But first, I guess pretty much right after she confessed, so there is a book kind of written about the experiences. It's called Demonic Possession, The Extraordinary True Life Experiences, and it was written by C. Torrington. And in this book, it was alleged that Clara felt like she was cheated out of something by the demon who had possessed her, and supposedly after confessing to Father Horner about her deal with the devil, she got into a verbal argument with the spirit inside of her, and she allegedly said, "You have betrayed me. You promised me days of glory, but now you treat me cruelly."
Oh,
so,
shit.
They actually don't know why she would have made this pact or anything. None of the sources said. They all just said, like, they never actually found out, and she never told anybody why this happened.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, like, known that she was poor or, like, there was a guy she was trying to marry or anything. That's so weird.
So, starting in August of 1906, her behavior kind of drastically changed and was often witnessed by large groups of people. So, at first, they kind of just thought she was acting out, and then she started to tell embarrassing stories of people she didn't even know.
Oh, that's not nice.
No. And after that, she allegedly brought up the private life of someone in the church, and that's when people started to realize that something more was going on and was wrong.
Oh, so is it like that she kind of has all this information that she shouldn't even know?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. She's got all the dirt. Spill the tea.
Right? So, Clara also began to show a talent for mind reading. And it's reported not only could she tell those around her what they were thinking at any given moment, but she had also gained the ability that after meeting someone for the first time, she could effortlessly provide a complete rundown of their history, going as far back as childhood. And in tests that they did at the church, no one was ever able to trick or fool her with that.
Ew.
Yeah.
That sounds really hard to do.
Yeah. So
Like, you'd have to be a really good, like the person that just kind of like, not that psychics fake it, but you can say a lot from like just reading the person's face. And what do they call that? Isn't there like a name?
Like body language and
yeah,
like intuition
like
about
a show where the guy's so good at like reading people. I don't know. Yeah, it's just like you can glean some information from, is there I sense a man in your future with like, and you're like, oh, my grandpa and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
To some degree.
With her, it's actually interesting because the church did bring in like unbiased like researchers that actually studied Clara, and so that's kind of weird. So the researchers determined that Clara could somehow get inside the minds of anyone that she encountered.
Oh, okay, sorry, I just thought of the word I think I was trying to think of. The show that I was thinking of was called, like, The Mentalist.
Oh, yes.
So, like, if someone's, like, a mentalist, they do have some ability to kind of glean some information that way. But, yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, this one was crazy. I was like, how have I never heard of this one? So...
Right? It's like, is she real? Is she fake? Is she possessed?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So she also kind of had the more classic symptoms. So she began to suddenly speak speak fluently in languages that she previously didn't know.
Nope. No, thank you.
According to one of the nuns, the 16-year-old could suddenly speak French, German, and Polish.
Why always the European languages?
Right?
Just all of a sudden. And Polish, nowhere near French or German, I don't think. Maybe German, but it's nowhere near French.
In like the early 1900s, I want to know how common that was in South Africa for somebody to know those languages. Like, I'd get French.
Oh, right.
But...
yeah, that too. She's not even on the same continent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Bizarre.
So she could speak, not only could she suddenly speak these languages fluently, but the church actually flew in like native language speakers, and they were brought in to test her on like her fluency in these languages.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shit, bitch. Let's see if you could really speak French.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
It's reported...
Well, they can't test her if she's really possessed.
Yeah.
There's no real test.
It's reported at some point, I don't know if this was like all the time or like a one-time thing, but at some point it's reported she took off all of her clothes, like tore them off, and started making noises like no earthly beast.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Weird.
So there's a quote, I'm not sure who said this, it was probably one of the nuns or something. It says, quote, "No animal had ever made such sounds, neither the lions of East Africa nor the angry bulls. At times it sounded like a veritable herd of wild beasts orchestrated by Satan had formed a hellish choir." Yeah.
Should we try to recreate it? No. No. Sorry, that was more the dial-up internet noise.
Fax machine.
That is fucked up. Why are they always gonna make weird fucking guttural noises and man voices and demon voices and what is that, the fourth kind where she speaks a bunch of like Sumerian? That's fucking freaky too.
Yeah.
It's not an exorcism, but it's
it's
in that same sort of vein. It's creepy.
It's reported as well that she ended up smashing her bed to like pieces and broke it apart.
Oh.
She was speaking to people that weren't there, and witnesses say that she could levitate. One account said that she floated 5 feet above her bed, and that her skin boiled when in contact with holy water.
Ooh, with the skin boiling.
Yeah.
It sounds painful.
Yeah. Any sort of allergic reaction, or even, like, I have sensitive skin, so sometimes I put on hand cream and my skin burns, but I can't imagine me describing that as boiling.
Right?
Like,
yeah. Yeah, I've had hives pop up from different things that are, and you're like, oh, okay, that's annoying, but at least it's not like my skin's peeling off or anything.
Yeah. But it's also said that she exhibited extremely strange behavior for someone that was possessed. I found this super interesting. So
What? That's all possessed people do is strange behavior. What do they mean?
This is strange behavior that somebody accomplished while possessed. So,
okay.
While she was possessed, she actually, in multiple times, attended confession, was inside the church, received a Holy Communion, and so during this, like how most people who are possessed are like, have an aversion to like religious iconography, like symbols or anything like that. She obviously didn't. She was attending confession and received Holy Communion with like no side effects.
So confused.
Right?
While the demon's like talking out of her, like, yes, Father, amen.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So they
so
said this
weird.
either happened extremely early in her possession, she was able to do this, or that it's possible that she was dealing with such incredibly strong forces that the demons, thought they could withstand the power of the Catholic Church. And that's why she was able to attend church while possessed. I mean...
that's a thinker. I'm gonna have to come
Right?
up with some
That's
theories for
the
that
first
one.
time I've ever heard that, right?
Well, and it's like, then it makes me go, okay, is this something that she's putting on then, or?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Makes you doubt it a little bit.
Yeah, this one, I kind of went back and forth, but when they described the exorcism, I'm kind of like, I don't know. So, in Exorcism, after she started showing these, like, symptoms, an exorcism was arranged for about a month later, and this was now mid-September of 1906, and she went through her first treatment, which was a 2-day exorcism that ended up almost killing her, along with the priests that were trying to save her. And...
Excuse me, sorry. Oh my god.
yeah. According to some reports, the exorcism took place in front of 170 people. There was
What the hell?
Yeah.
Just like putting on a show.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon in the barn.
Yeah. So her exorcism started first thing in the morning, and they really only paused for, like, brief lunch breaks. And then I guess, like, they would break over the night. So that happened for, like, 2 days, I guess.
It's gotta be exhausting. I mean, and it's weird how it can drag on that long. That lends me to think, yeah, more believable. I don't know. It's just like, if you were faking something, eventually your body would get tired, and your mind would be like, well, Jesus Christ, I gotta, like, sorry, but I gotta sleep for a couple hours, you know?
I need something to eat. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm thirsty. Like,
yeah, all this demon acting is taking it out of me. But no, they're like, no, I'm just gonna convulse for a few more hours. It's fine.
yeah. This is where I'm happiest. Like,
this is my new diet regime. I don't know.
religious or like exorcisms. Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm very tired.
So during this exorcism, Claire managed to snatch away the Bible that one of the priests was holding, and then tried to choke him with, like, his what's that? The stole, I think it said she tried to choke him with.
Oh, the thing they wear on their necks or whatever?
Yeah.
The little collar thingy?
No, I think it's the thing they put over their shoulders, that, like, little, like, scarfy thing. I think that's the stole.
I can picture that with a couple of, like, the ends kind of hang down.
Yeah, so she tried to choke him with that after she was able to get his Bible. And a witness says that at one point during the exorcism, Claire's body lost all its rigidity and became boneless and rubbery like a snake, and she began to slither along the floor. That's
Well, first it sounds like when someone, like, falls unconscious. Yeah, boneless. But
Yeah.
okay, slithering. Nope. That's not normal.
So, Father Horner, one of the priests who later performed her exorcism, recalled Clara floated about 3, 4, and up to 5 feet in the air, sometimes vertically and at other times horizontal. So she was just
Ew.
floating all over the place. Yes.
Yeah, sounds like when, like, they're getting abducted by aliens or something.
Yeah.
Because you're, like, horizontal and then it's like, ooh. Just picturing, like, a beam of light or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, multiple people who worked on her case claimed that when Clara went into a crazed possession trance, the only thing that could snap her out of it was to spritz her with some holy water. Just little spritz.
Just a face setting spray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now just walk through it.
It's just a candle that smells like your vagina, Gwyneth Paltrow said.
Oh.
No one.
Nasty.
I'm sorry. Right? Wouldn't it be?
Yeah. I can't imagine, like, who was sniffing her vagina to figure out what it smelled like. And, like, we didn't quite
Here's a
nail
candle that
it.
smells like fresh trout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really, sorry, Gwyneth, we didn't quite catch it this time. Like, we have to redesign the candle. So,
Have you gotten to Modern Family where they mock Goop and Gwyneth Paltrow yet? This season where Haley's working for this lady who's like Gwyneth Paltrow.
No. She's working for
it's
the
so funny.
fashion guy. That, like,
Oh, he's a douchebag too.
yeah.
All right. Well, she'll work for a real idiot in the
Oh my god.
form of a woman later. Yeah.
I can't wait. So this spritzing of holy water was only a temporary solution, and throughout her 2-day exorcism, Clara attacked nuns and acted out wildly every time a Bible or cross went near her.
It's like a 10-hour hold hairspray. It just like wore out after a while.
Yeah. At some point, she even bit a nun on the arm.
Ow!
Yeah, and
Girl.
the imprint that was left showed, like, Claire's human teeth, but it also in the middle had the outline of a snake tongue. Apparently.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Right?
What the fuck?
Yeah. This exorcism sounds crazy. After the exorcism was complete, she ended up being pronounced, like, free of possession, and the nuns on hand ended up, like, working to nurse her back to health because she faced, as, like, typical, some malnutrition and dehydration, and her eyes had sunken in and her body was quite thin, like skin and bones, from her month-long possession she had faced.
Yeah, like, that's just crazy. It's sometimes they're just too far gone to come back from it.
Yeah. Thankfully she lives, though. So,
Wow.
according to, I believe this is a book. According to the devil
Begone, Satan! No,
No.
it's not from that.
According to the devil and his philosophy, the nature of his game, Clara recovered from her exorcism and was incredibly embarrassed about the behavior she exhibited while possessed. Her memory from that time ended up being, like, blank. She didn't remember anything, and she denied making any deal with Satan.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
That's what got you in that in the first place.
So,
Yeah, that's confusing, too. The whole deal with Satan part. You don't hear that a lot. It's usually, like, it just comes upon some child or
Right?
adolescent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So rather than hide away in her room and hope everyone would just forget the insanity of her, like, 2-day-long exorcism witnessed by, like, 170 people, she ended
Nothing to see here.
Right. She just, like, prayed, she asked for forgiveness, and dedicated her life to humble pursuits. So Clara was evaluated by mental health professionals on numerous occasions. And at the time, in 1906, they were unanimous that she did not suffer from any sort of mental illness like schizophrenia or anything else that they believed symptoms would have mimicked her demonic possession. So she was being, like, watched.
Yeah, and I'm always confused about that part of the demonic possession, because I don't think all of them can be explained away as mental illness. It's just,
No.
yeah, it's too many specific things. Like, yeah, the speaking in tongues, you know, this and that. It's just too many of the same, factors. Yeah.
So, one weird twist in this that is in some sources says that she, about a few months after her first demonic possession, she apparently made another deal with Satan, became possessed again, and underwent another exorcism, was once again cleared of any outside influences. So, that was
According to her? Like, that's what she told them?
No, according to some sources, they say that she made another deal. So she wasn't all about the humble pursuits and asking for forgiveness. She tried it again. Apparently.
Well,
yeah.
We'll never really know.
The
Jeez,
last
that's weird.
part I have about her is kind of tragic. So Clara Germana Seal died 6 years later at age 22 from heart failure. Yeah.
Oh, so young.
Right? That's so young. And from heart failure. Like, that's crazy.
Right. So she clearly suffered from some sort of illness.
Yeah. I feel like either these supposed one, at least, or possibly two, like, possessions took a lot out of her, or maybe she had, like, a health problem before that was underlying that they maybe didn't know about in 1906, but yeah, she died so young either way.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sucks. Poor girl. Like, they thought she was cleared before that, whether, you know, possessed, quote unquote, or not. Wow.
Yeah, so that's her case. It's pretty crazy. Again, I'm surprised, like, I had never heard, and I never ran across, like, a movie or anything that was, like, based on it, but...
I know, it's crazy, and to think of all the independent, lovely podcasts like ourselves, and then sometimes you, like, look up something and you're like, literally no podcast has covered this? You're like, aren't there, like, 3 million podcasts?
Yeah. I think for her, there was a few that came up.
Yeah, none of the main ones that I know.
No,
so
it was a handful of them, I think, that came up.
I don't think it's well known.
No. So my second half, and to close out the episode, I have some information about real life priest, Father Gary Thomas, who actually is certified and authorized to perform real exorcisms.
Ooh, woot, woot.
Yeah.
Father Gary.
So,
That's who yes. Yeah, I was like, oh, I know you're going to talk about Father Gary.
Yeah.
Not that I'd heard about him before, but sounds cool.
I had when I first watched this movie. So, one of my favorite exorcism, like, horror movies, and one that I watch almost every year around Halloween. Really one of the only exorcism movies I've ever rewatched or felt the need to.
Yeah.
Is the... right? Because some of them are just so bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And this is the 2011 possession and exorcism horror movie called The Rite. Have you ever watched this?
I believe so, yes. I believe I came across it in the research and was like, yeah, that looks like something I probably watched at least once with Pat.
Yeah. So it's based on the career of Father Gary Thomas, who has been doing exorcisms for, my source said over 10 years, but I believe he went through his training in 2005 when the Vatican, like, first started offering that training course. So he's been doing it for about 16 years now.
Sorry. Oh, that's interesting. That did tie in then.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's modern.
Yeah.
And he may or may not have taken that class, the Vatican.
Yeah. So, in the movie The Rite, it follows the character Sumerian, or a character who's a Sumerian. His name is Michael Kovac, and he's planning on renouncing his vows after his graduation. But he ends up traveling to Rome to train as an exorcist, where he ends up finding his true calling and like his faith and belief and everything again.
Okay.
So,
I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, it sounds familiar.
in contrast to real life, Father Gary Thomas was an experienced priest in his 40s when he started his training at the Vatican, and he took the position after another priest at like the diocese had declined the position. So it had been offered to somebody else and they declined it, so Father Gary Thomas ended up stepping in and getting trained.
Brave man. He's got the balls. He's like, all right.
So
the guy was like, I'm too old for this shit.
Possibly.
I don't want to be the newest exorcist.
Right. So Father Gary Thomas ended his training under Father Carmine, a Roman exorcist, and they were training together for about 3.5 months, and he spent his time observing exorcisms, helping the discernment team, and participating in the rite. So I'll get to kind of what the discernment team does after. So now Father Gary Thomas spends his time doing interviews, running his ministry, and he still performs exorcisms. He gets multiple requests a week, and one report said he's even been contacted upwards of like 5 times a day with different requests.
Holy shit. I wonder if that's because he's semi-famous.
Possibly, yeah.
Interesting.
So
still practicing.
Yeah, he is. It's kind of crazy. So he consulted on the book that I believe the movie The Rite was based on. And the book is called The Rite, The Making of a Modern Exorcist. And it was written by Matt Baglio. So he worked with, like, the people who wrote the book, Matt Baglio, and also the people making the movie to make sure it was accurate in their depictions of, like, possession and exorcisms and the faith.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So for the movie, he was quite active in the movie's development. He spent weeks on set offering insight and criticism to the creators, kind of telling them how to do it and if they were doing stuff wrong. He also coached one of the main stars who kind of plays like the mentor to Michael Kovac's character. This like mentor is played by Anthony Hopkins, one of my favorites. Yeah.
Odin himself. I mean, Hannibal himself. Yeah.
Right?
He's great. Oh,
so many movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's actually the reason I ever watched this movie in the first place. I love Anthony Hopkins. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'll do that too. Oh, I like that actor. Sure, it's worth a try.
I watched this movie when it first came out in 2011. I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I bought it as soon as it came out on DVD. Like, I was waiting for it.
I feel like there was kind of also, like, the exorcism phase.
Yeah. There was this one, and then, like, Devil Inside, and something else that I think came out in the same year, or really close to each other.
Yeah, mine was 2016, it said, yeah. Goes through phases, horror.
Yeah. So he was on set coaching Anthony Hopkins on how to wear a stole, and even how to, like, punctuate the prayers properly that he was going to be reading.
Nice.
And so a little bit kind of off topic for the movie, at least going into more like Father Gary Thomas's life, and the work he does. Since Pope Francis was appointed in 2013, there has actually been a resurgence of exorcism demands. And Pope John Paul II had actually, before that, issued a mandate requesting every bishop... Sorry, I burped.
I didn't hear it.
No, it was very quiet. So he issued a mandate requesting that every bishop appoint and train an exorcist for their diocese.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's actually required. And part of the training includes that week-long course at the Vatican that you talked about.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like a tie-in.
Yeah. So I was like, "Ooh, I'm happy you like gave the rundown on that because I didn't. That's all I had about that." So I was like, "Perfect."
And smart that they would actually make it mandatory that someone be trained in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So cool.
So this is some information I have about actual like exorcisms based on Father Gary Thomas's experience. Ooh. So he categorizes demonic experiences down to 4 categories that increase in severity as they go on. So they start as harassment, then move to oppression, obsession, and then true possession.
You're my obsession. You're my possession. Sorry.
All of the shuns. The first 2 categories are said to be like often manageable. With harassment, a person may feel vaguely uncomfortable around holy objects, or they may hear things like during the night.
Okay.
With oppression, it often exhibits itself as a deep depression or malaise, and when a clinical diagnosis cannot be found. So it is common, like they do believe in like mental health experts, evaluations and everything.
That's good.
Yeah. So obsession can involve extreme manifestations of demonic activity like hallucinations or physical interaction. And finally, during possession, a person's body is given over to a demon, and this requires a major exorcism.
Okay. So they're the 3 stages of how deeply it's going.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
So on top of normal psychiatric and medical evaluation, a person seeking an exorcism must display some of the 6 classic signs of possession. So you went through all these, but we'll just re-go through them quickly. They include the aversion to the sacred, speaking in unfamiliar languages, exhibiting unnatural strength, the knowledge of hidden things, foaming at the mouth, and a pseudo-epileptic reaction.
Ooh, I don't think I said foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, right? Just throwing that one in there. So,
just a little rabidness.
Yeah, just a little bit of rabies. So Father Gary Thomas has a team of medical experts, including a clinical psychologist, a psychiatrist, and a medical doctor.
Wow.
So they're like present. He also has a prayer team that does all of the discernment. So the discernment team, they figure out if it's a real possession or if it's something else first. So they're going to be like the psychologist, psychiatrist, everything. They're going to evaluate and then determine if the exorcism is required, and then Father Gary Thomas would like step in.
Wow. It's like, not to get too political, but if, you know, police teams had a bunch of, right, you know, different support staff, like, not sociologists, like social workers and psychologists and stuff. It seems like it would work. This sounds like a beautiful, you know, well-working system. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, like police have enough on their plates. I feel like trying to train them to pretty much be a psychiatrist or like psychologist in the moment of trying to like talk to somebody when they may or may not be under possible threat.
That's kind of 2 very different jobs.
Yeah. I feel like having somebody there like with them, and then the police can maybe just be protecting both of them from like anything that happens, but if somebody else is like handling the situation, I feel like it's maybe a better step. But
yeah, like I'm loving this team dynamic.
Right? Yeah, it's really good. It made me feel a lot better about possible exorcisms happening nowadays.
Yeah.
If this is, like, all involved. It's probably not in all of them, but, yeah. So, he said that exorcism is a very slow process, and there's actually a whole, like, bureaucratic process that's required to even get permission to perform a major exorcism, like, in the first place.
And I've heard that.
Yeah, this process includes proving consent for the ritual and as well as, like, having undergone a psychological evaluation.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like your standing trial.
Yeah. Father Gary Thomas believes in all of the normal gateways to obsession. So he believes in, like, possession from people interacting with Ouija boards, tarot readings, or involved with psychics.
Tarot readings?
I do have to say
Really?
I don't really agree with him on this because I didn't include it, but some sources also say he believes yoga and some forms of meditation may cause somebody to be possessed. So that was a little too much.
I see. He a little afraid of anything new agey, I think.
Yeah, then there was also a whole article I saw that was pretty much a rant about how what was it? They used a specific word.
Excuse me.
I can't remember what the word was.
I don't know if it's yoga, I'm fucked too. Cause...
Right. Yoga and meditation. So breathing exercises, I guess.
Dude.
But it was like a whole thing saying that these things are like attack on, like, the Catholic faith. And I was like, okay, that's too much. I'm sorry, Father Gary Thomas.
Jeez. Threatened
That's a
much?
Bit too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, calm down. Yeah. But I agree, like, Ouija boards, that's pretty classic. I don't agree with the tarot cards, the psychics, yoga, or
Ouija
meditation.
boards, they're so funny. They're like, everyone talks about them and you gotta be safe with them, but it's also funny that they're produced by, like, Milton Bradley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that is also pretty common in exorcism, like, horror movies, is he does believe that, like, abuse can leave someone vulnerable to possession. So he does clarify that, like, not all abuse, but he says that abuse is a kind of, like, he believes, like, in quotes, a soul wound, and that this can attract demonic activity to a person. And in the film, the Rite, this is reflected in the character, like, the main character they're performing the exorcisms on. She goes through, like, 4 or 5 of them during the course of the movie. Her name's, I think, Rosaria, and she was sexually assaulted, and that resulted in her possession.
Oh, shit. That's just rubbing salt in the wound.
Yeah. So Father Gary Thomas doesn't believe that all abuse leads to demonic possession, but that abuse is a doorway which can leave some people vulnerable to possession. He describes a situation in which someone may be tempted to find closure to trauma by dabbling in the occult, which is against the Catholic doctrine, and they could end up forming a relationship with Satan. I guess. Okay. I mean, people find different ways to cope with trauma. But,
yeah, it's interesting the correlation they're bringing. But
it is, like, very common in, like, possession horror movies that somebody went through some sort of abuse before they were possessed, right?
Or the abuse and the possession. Yeah, that's really interesting. Interesting.
So, I think you had mentioned it before, but Latin is, like, the approved language to perform the rite, and it's the traditional language of exorcisms.
The Catholic Church, they love their Latin. They're Roman, and sometimes they get called popish. I've been reading Outlander again. Well, it's weird how, like, Protestants and Catholics used to really fucking hate each other. Yeah. And now we talk about, like, white supremacists. It's like, fucking, we've always found reasons to hate each other for all the slightest of differences.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah, so Latin's the traditional language, and it's actually reported as being the most hated by demons, which I love. But there is approved translations of the Rite in Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese that are available to use. And it is pointed out, or as pointed out in the Rite, getting the demon's name and the purpose of its possession is the first step in asserting control. So the last little...
Call it by its name.
Yeah, the last part I have is actually, weirdly enough, from a Cosmopolitan interview Father Gary Thomas did.
Weird.
Right?
They came up in a list I was looking at the other day, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I would read you, and then I'd be like, God, you're stupid. And then I would read men's magazines instead, like Maxim, because even though there was, like, sexy women and women jokes, it was like, at least you're, like, more intelligently written.
Sometimes, yeah. So, yeah, that's why I'm like, this is a Cosmo interview? It was actually pretty good. So
hard-hitting journalism right there.
Yeah, because that's the target demographic of Cosmo readers. Do you suffer from demonic possession? Like, okay.
There you go.
So this is all, like, quoted. This is what was written in the article. So, they asked, how do you perform an exorcism? So this is all, like, verbatim what the response was. It says, there's a set of prayers that we pray right before the exorcism starts. I call them setting the table prayers. They establish God's authority, protect the team, protect the person that's the subject of the exorcism, and protect the property on which the exorcism is taking place, which is in my parish, in my church. The doors are locked with a sign that says healing session in progress, because you don't want someone walking in on this.
Nah, probably not.
Then you anoint the doors with blessed oils so the demon cannot leave. We anoint the person with the sacrament of the sick, and then begin the solemn rite. It's done entirely in Latin, and you begin with the litany of saints, followed by scripture, followed by a few words based on the scriptures. Then you address prayers to God and address prayers to Satan. In between, you can pray the Hail Mary and the Lord's Prayer.
Okay.
If the person is clearly reacting, you'll say, in the name of Lord Jesus Christ, what is your name? The demon doesn't want me or any exorcist to know its name, because once it's known, the demon begins to lose its power. Sometimes they'll have names that are biblical, like Asmodeus or Baal or Beelzebub. Other times they'll be called lust or anger or hatred.
Ew, really?
Yeah. They're going to do everything they can not to tell you. But there are only 3 questions you usually ask the demon. What's your name? How did you get in? And when are you leaving? You don't get in.
Seems the most pertinent.
Yeah, I like this.
The fuck you going?
Yeah, I like this though. And the thing, it says that he also said, you don't get into any kind of, well, I'm kind of curious. What's it like to be a demon?
No.
So apparently he doesn't ask that during exorcisms. So they also asked him, how do you know when it's over? He said, if the manifestations stop, you continue the prayer for a time, and then it's a judgment call. You rely on the person to say whether the demon's left. Sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they're not sure. We've been doing this, at this point, for 10 years now, so we're getting pretty good at being able to discern when something is left. But you continue the prayers for a while, because sometimes the demons could go and hide. Yeah.
Ew.
So that was it for the Cosmo article. The last little bit I have is just to finish off. The diocese doesn't keep track of the exorcisms performed, but Father Gary Thomas said he's performed about 40 exorcisms on 7 people within the last 5 years. So I think that was from the Cosmo article, so that would have been about 5 years ago. And And the number of exorcisms in the United States is drastically lower than that in Italy. And Father Thomas noted. And he says that about 500,000 exorcisms are performed yearly in the European country, so in Italy.
Yes,
500,000
500,000 fucking exorcisms
a year. Like, that's crazy.
I read that and I was like,
Yeah.
what? That's a lot.
And
Are
he's
they
performed...
just trying to get in on the fun or what?
I don't know. Yeah, and he's performed 40 in 5 years on like 7 people. And then...
Yeah, I was gonna put in how many my guy had done, and then it was like, well, maybe by the time he got to her, 19. But then it was like, no, he had just started 10 years ago. And I was like, what the hell could he... I'm so confused. I think by the end of his career, he had maybe done like 20.
Yeah, you make it believe like that they do so many, but I think it's because so many people probably reach out to them, and then because they do such a... Like, with the discernment and the mental health professionals involved and the medical teams involved, I feel like it's such a high threshold to get them approved now that they just aren't commonly done.
Right, there's a lot of debunking before they would ever get to the... Where they're like, yeah, you actually probably need one.
Yeah. So...
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was really cool. I really enjoyed our exorcisms.
Yeah.
They weren't the most popular known ones, I don't think.
No, I had never heard yours. I thought I had, but the person I was thinking of, it was wrong, so I'm happy.
I was like, I don't think I had heard any of yours. Oh, and yeah, like, the only thing that, I remember mine was talked about the Father Gary Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And the hang on. Yeah, that there had been, like, 500,000 done. Yeah, so I got, like, a quote from him or something there where it was Father Gary Thomas thought that it might be that society has begun to rely on like social sciences and fewer churches have trained experts, and that the decline of Christianity has increased supernatural practices. And
okay.
He thinks he's got it all figured out. But no, that's there was like a theory as to why it might be increasing. But it's so hard to know. It's because religion has certainly grown and changed over the years, so it's hard to say how many diehards we have and, you know, what they all believe. And why can't, if people are all just religious and more religions, you know, tout being nice to each other, why the hell can't we all just get along? What the hell, man?
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
It's the extremists of every bunch that ruin it for so many people.
That's right. Fear. Fear ruins things, but
but
we like to get you guys scared.
Yeah, and everybody should go out and watch go watch The Exorcist and then go watch the Rite.
Yeah. That's your homework for the assignment for this week.
We're gonna follow up.
We will next week during Horror Movie Crimes,
which will be recorded tomorrow.
Or right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, it's like 10:30 at night. I've been up since 5 a.m. I'd like to go to sleep.
She's reached her limit. She may get possessed if we record any longer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening.
Yes. And next, we didn't say what next week is, did we? I don't think so.
I just said that. Horror movies based on true crimes.
Oh, sorry.
Oh. Yeah, we gotta go. All right. Yeah. Good night.
It's been a day.
It's been a day for sure.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for listening. Bye. This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and our YouTube channel. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers and become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. We are working on an Ask Us Anything. You can submit questions by social media or by email at castlesandcryptids@gmail.com. Do you have a spooky ghost story, a creepy cryptid sighting, or a thrilling true crime tale you would like to share and have us include in a future episode? Send us your listener story by social media or by email. Please include the name that you would like mentioned. Our music is by Kobe Fair. Our logo and artwork is by Antonio Garcia. Thanks for listening.